Well, good evening. Good evening. I am Sheila Vickers, and I just want to welcome you. I'm of Savant Leadership Consulting, where I use leadership and my experience in education and ministry to support high potential leaders and their stakeholders for organizational fit and performance gap. I am so honored that you are here with us tonight, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching the replay. Welcome tonight. We have a special night in store. This is the second cycle of the Reposition. And the Reposition came about with different people that I was either mentoring or supporting, stating that they were very concerned in this year about how they could repivot themselves and how they could stay marketable for these times. As you know, this has been an unprecedented year. I don't think that there is anyone who has been untouched, unscathed with everything that has gone on. This is a global thing, whether it be the pandemic of COVID-19 or the civil unrest or just the downsizing and changing of the guard, so to speak, that's going on. People have been very concerned about their security. And so I have been mentoring people, servicing, and I am not alone. I have some guests who are well-versed. They are thought leaders. Blessings to you. Thank you so much. By the way, if you care to have your comment highlighted, please give permission to Facebook. Please give permission to StreamYard. I'm going to get that link up. Give permission to have your comment highlighted by going to StreamYard.com /Facebook, and your comment will be highlighted on this show and also later on YouTube. But I have some thought experts and some experts in the field of human resources and entrepreneurship. And I'm so excited because they are here to help us once again, not just survive. I don't want us to just survive this time. I want us to now advance. So now we have been inspired that we can do more than just what we were thinking in the past, right? Our thinking has become forward thinking. And so the inspiration that there is more to who we are and what we can do. And so we're not just surviving anymore. Now we're prepared to advance. But here's the thing. We want to advance, but sometimes it's hello, hey, I can't see who you are. I see you're a Facebook user. Thank you so much for joining. Please let me know where you're viewing from. Blessings to you as well. I'm in New York. Let me know where you're from. And hopefully it's not snowing like it did yesterday in the upper Northeast. Prepare to advance. Yeah, prepare to advance. So I am preparing to advance tonight. And listen, you are not alone. I am preparing to advance. As some of you know, or some of you may not know, some of you know me as an evangelist, but my preparedness is in the field of education. For about 20 years, I was an educator in the elementary and junior high school, but I repivoted myself. I am not just one faceted, right? So there I went into not only educating students, but educating teachers. Right. And so my purpose is always to educate and empower. We are not just surviving, but we are preparing to advance. So in that preparing to advance, I now support people who are potential leaders. And so I want you to be able to do the same. However, there are some things and insights from the inside of a human resource department, insight from entrepreneurs that can help you. They service organizations, they service nonprofits, and they are here to assist you. And without further ado, I'm going to bring on one of the brilliant minds, one of the most brilliant minds that I know. She is a mover and a shaker. I'm going to let her tell you her story. God bless you, Supervisor Jeanette King. So glad to have you on tonight. She is an entrepreneur. Dr. Hall, Oh, yes, I can see you now. Thank you so much for giving your permission to StreamYard. I'm going to bring her on. She is the CEO of HR Board and More. I'm so excited. Will you please help me welcome the one and only Gail Fly? Hello. How are
Hi. Hi,
you?
Sheila.
I
Hi,
am so
everybody.
good. How are you doing?
I'm excited. I'm ready for this conversation.
Listen, I am ready. I've been thinking about this.
Yes.
Just for the past couple of weeks and just getting geared to receive from you. So I'm going to be asking you some questions. Yeah, and I know they say, I'm asking for a friend. No, I'm kind of asking for me too,
Yes.
because this is so exciting.
Yes.
What a year this has been. We are in December, and each month I've been telling somebody, wow, what a long year this month has been. And so it's kind of been like that. I don't know if it's been like that with you, but it's been kind of the slowdown and the pickup.
Yeah.
And, I'm busy, but things are at a low. What do we do? Where do we go? And, all of these people have questions. So first, let's get started. Why don't you just tell me a little bit about your story?
Yeah. So thank you again so much, Sheila, for having me as your guest. This is so exciting. And I'm excited to just have a conversation about where we are and to help us think about a plan. As you said, we've all been sort of, just trying to get out of this year, but there's still some time in this year to make things different for next year. So my story is, I have a background in HR and board governance. I worked in the nonprofit sector for most of my career. I've had one for-profit job, and I went back into the nonprofit community really, really quickly. And so after Hurricane Katrina in 2005, actually a little bit before that, I was making sort of the transition into consulting. So around 2003, 4, making the transition because I always knew I wanted to work for myself. And I always knew it. And so I went to school for business management so that I could understand the principles of managing a business, the accounting, the finance, all the fun stuff that we don't want to do, but that we need to know to manage and run a successful business. So after Katrina, though, is when we jumped in kind of both feet, and a colleague and I co-founded a nonprofit. So that would be FLOSS. So the FNL, Organizational Support Services, where we begin to support nonprofits with their infrastructure, right? Sheila, stop me whenever, because I can go on and on about this. This I love to talk. I love this conversation.
Okay.
So my heart, my passion, the reason I do what I do is because I want people to know how to do things right. And I tell people all the time, I'm not saying that I have all the answers. I'm saying I know how to get them. And I'm saying I am the consultant that will tell you, even the word expert is sort of a thing for me, because I believe that we are experts in our field of work, in our scopes of work. But I want us to all be really, really honest that no one consultant or consultant team or firm has all of the answers. And
can I just break in right there?
Please.
Because you said a consultant is not the person that's going to just do things for you.
Here's the thing. We're looking for, in a lot of cases, the consultant, the expert to come in and fix it.
Yeah.
It's not ours to fix. It's ours to partner with you in thought to help to guide how to fix.
Got it.
Does that make sense? So
it does, because a lot of people look at consultants as
here. They say here.
Yeah.
You want to just hand me your business. And I don't want you to hand me your business, because it's not my business. You are the visionary. You are the thought behind it. You are your business. I want to be your thought partner, and I want to help you to fine tune those areas that I do have the expertise and the experience and the knowledge and the skill to get you from point A to point B. That is how I start the engagement. Do not expect me to come in and don't hand me your business and say, fix it. We're going to work together, and we're going to solve some challenges, and we're going to identify some resources and some steps to get you from point A to point B.
Yeah. So as Supervisor King said, so you're the consult. Yes, she is the consult. Absolutely.
Thank
And
you.
so what really pivoted you to start
Yep.
being an entrepreneur?
I'll tell you exactly what pivoted me to start. So I, having worked in a nonprofit sector, and I've worked in from the very small startups to the large, with an international division scope of nonprofits. So I've seen a spectrum of how nonprofits function. And so I've seen some great things, and I've seen some very challenging and some very concerning things. And
Mm-hmm.
so, where in 2002, 2003, a colleague and I started having a conversation about what we were seeing in the nonprofit sector, which was this. And I was that person in some cases.
Okay.
You work in a nonprofit organization. There's a person in there that has all the institutional knowledge because they've been there for so long.
Right.
When that person leaves, we recreate the wheel. We lose the systems, the processes, we lose it and we start over because no one had the time or no one was able to carve out the time because we're working and we're busy and we're doing the mission and we're running the programs.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody thought about the infrastructure and capturing the systems for the infrastructure in one place.
Mm-hmm.
That was my pivot point to say, here's a gap in some nonprofit spaces and a lot of nonprofit spaces where there's a lack of infrastructure. Because here's the thing, nonprofits are born and function and thrive off of a mission.
Mm-hmm.
So Sheila, I'm a person and I have a vision for this thing that I want to do in my community. Great, amazing, wonderful. But before I jump up and start the nonprofit, I've got to build the infrastructure or I've got to partner with people who can help me. I'm the visionary. I know the mission. I don't know a thing about nonprofit accounting, which is not the same as for-profit or tax accounting, not the same.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about, HR policies and procedures and labor laws and, overtime, exemptions and exempt and non-exempt. And I don't know anything about that, but I have an amazing mission in a program. That is where I saw the need to jump in and to start working on helping to build infrastructure, systems, and processes for the nonprofits.
Okay. So if someone is saying to you, I have this idea, this is what I want to do here, what can you do with that?
Yeah, so we're going to start everything with a conversation. And let me say this as a consultant, that first conversation is just that. We're not in an engagement. We do not have a consultant agreement. We're going to have a conversation because I want to be honest. I want to hear everything that you have to say, but I want to be honest and tell you whether or not I think I can help you. I don't want to just say, yeah, let's sign this agreement and let's get started. I want to listen to you first. I want to hear what you're saying. And then I want to tell you honestly whether I think I can help you or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So this pandemic, this year, it's caused many people to think, rethink, but even challenge themselves to come out of their box. Okay, we're no longer one-dimensional, not even in our thoughts. And it's begun the process of coming out of a box to say, I can be multifaceted. What advice would you give to someone who thinks that they only have a set of skills for one area or one career? And I'll take myself. Some preachers feel like all they can do is preach. And meanwhile, they may be a good administrator. They may be a good leadership trainer. It's several things. Some person in the hospitality industry may feel like that's all that they can do when maybe event planning can be in their future. What would you say to them?
I would say, Sheila, what immediately comes to mind is the best advice that I was given. And I'm going to credit where this advice came from. So a couple of years ago, I had the awesome pleasure to experience, and I'll just call it this thing called fishbird, a fish and a bird, fishbird.
Okay.
And so people have heard me mention and, reference and talk about Fishbird because it's not a thing that you can really define. It's a thing that you have to experience. And so these two guys came in. I love them to this day. And what I took from then until now, and I still remind myself and to answer you is, first of all, there is no box. First of all, and let's just pause and let that sit in.
I love that. There is no box.
This entire thought of thinking out of a box, I came out of Fishbird with who made the box? Where did the box even come from? Why is there a box that what? And then let's go one step further, Sheila. As people, we are created by God.
Yeah.
What box is there? Who can box that in? So we're automatically multifaceted, multi-talented. We just have to sometimes partner with somebody who can help us pull out it's already in there. We just haven't had to use it until now.
Ooh. And I think I see Dr. Malcolm is on. I think sometimes we create a box.
We make the box.
Help label who we are, makes us try to fit in where we're not created to fit in.
Not only do we create the box, we allow those around us to make the box for us. So I may not think that I have a box, but Sheila, I will allow you to box me into one thing. And I tell people all the time, do not, single me into a pastor's wife, a psalmist. I am an author, entrepreneur, a wife, a mother, a businesswoman. I am multifaceted, multi-talented, submitting that humbly because God put that in me before the foundation of the world. All of these things were already there. I just had to know at different points and times and seasons in my life to tap into it and pull it out. And we will forever be doing that, Sheila, forever.
Forever. Because I feel a box is an insult to God.
There is no box. Throw the box away. Why is there a box? Who made the box? Why are you in the box? Get out of the box. There is no box. I want everybody to be very clear about this. If they don't remember anything anything else that I'm saying tonight, I want them to leave this conversation of what I'm saying, accepting the fact that there is no box. So we're not thinking outside of a box. We're thinking in and outside of a creativity that God has put in us that has no limits. No limits.
I love that.
That is how I can be the co-founder of a nonprofit, and then this year start a for-profit consulting business and be on the board of, a couple of organizations and be a wife and a mother and a praise team leader, because there is no box and there are no limits. They're self-imposed, or we've accepted what other people have put on us.
Woo! Okay.
Yes.
So that is definitely how you would address someone who feels that they only have resources, or they are a resource only for one area. Yeah. So tell me, no, I don't want to ask that right now. I want to save that. Hold on. What can you tell someone who's preparing for the first quarter of 2021? Because our mindset should already be in 2021. We're not going to wait until, December 31st.
Please.
How would you tell someone to prepare for the new year? What's to come? It's business-wise, in the marketplace, how to set themselves up.
Yeah. So what I would say first is I hope that we're not just starting to prepare for 2021.
Right.
I hope that we have all year long been, doing these, I like to call them, these assessments, self-assessments to see what worked and what didn't work and make those adjustments, not waiting until the end of the year or the top of the next year, but just like going about it monthly or at least on a quarterly basis and looking, because that's when we should also be looking at our financials, right? At least, I just want to plug that.
Those check-ins are important. Yeah.
So if not monthly, at least quarterly, depending on the size of our budgets and our resources. So what worked? What didn't? What do I need to adjust, fine tune, some things I may need to totally throw out and do something completely new and different. So I would hope that we've already been making those adjustments, especially with the pandemic and with COVID. I hope that we're not all just sitting here like, oh, here we are in December, let me gear up for next year. The
Right.
pandemic should have been like a pivot for all of us, right? Like myself
Yes.
included, to say what's gonna have to be different starting immediately, so I can fine tune this so that we can ride this out the rest of the year, and we know that we're going into the new year with it. So
Yes.
hopefully we've already been making those adjustments, those changes, and those transitions along this path.
I love it. Now, some of my demographic it's mixed. I have a
Yes.
mixed audience. So I have
Yep.
business colleagues here. I
Yep.
have my educators. But
Yes.
I also have a church group
Yes.
that, we're faith-based as
Yes.
well. And
Yes.
I know I have a supervisor that's watching who may require your services, even
Yes.
for her department,
Yes.
just to repivot, just to look at the quarters. What can we change? What can we modify? What can we do? Are you available for churches, for religious organizations, for faith-based organizations?
I am 100% available to consult and work with them. And I have on my nonprofit, I have an incoming board member who's a pastor, who's a CPA.
Okay.
And so we're going to be working on some workshops and some seminars that he actually wants to do for free. And because he's a pastor, he has a heart to help. And he said he's carving out time because he doesn't feel like he's had the time. But we definitely want to partner with and make a special, area of our services for faith-based and for churches. Absolutely. Because I want the churches, I want the faith-based organizations, especially the church. I want us to understand that we are still a business entity. Let's pause that. We still have state obligations and local things that we have to do as a business.
Yes.
And then I don't even want to get into, but I'll just mention, and then those of us who are paying a staff, like we're a business with the same regulations that every other business is obligated to.
Got it. Now, one of the things that I have been conversing with you about is planning with churches for succession planning.
Yes. Yes, Sheila. Yes.
Succession planning is not just for the corporate organizations, churches, faith-based organizations. Succession planning is needed.
Sheila, I'm going to say this. Good leaders plan for the future.
Please say that for the ones in the back.
I'm going to say
the ones
that
that are watching the replay.
And I'm talking about leaders. I didn't say pastors, executives, leaders. Good leaders plan for the future. Where here we go with this box. We think of succession as, somebody's going to replace me. Hopefully one day they will. Because we don't want the vision or the work or the organization to stop or to halt or to fall off why. I don't know why we don't want to talk about this. One day we're all going to die.
Right.
But aside from that, that's not just what succession plan. Anything could happen. You could have to relocate, or there's a family situation or things. Your business, your church, your ministry, your organization should not have to stop. There should be a succession plan. And we all as leaders should be making that plan. It doesn't mean I'm leaving tomorrow. It means that I'm being a good leader, and I want to ensure the successful continuance of this business. So I make a succession plan. It doesn't mean I'm using it tomorrow, but whenever we need it, if ever we need it, we do have one. And that is the work that Sheila and I are going to be partnering on in 2021. I'm so excited about it.
Yes, that was a nugget for you.
Yes.
I have found that you are a success when your successor succeeds.
Say that again for the people in the back.
You are a success when your successor succeeds. It doesn't matter how good you are when you're in office. When you can impart to the person that's following you, when you can feed into them and they become that success, that's what makes you a success.
We have to delegate. We have to train and develop leaders while it doesn't take anything from me to make sure that somebody in my business knows everything that's going on in this business. What does happen if there's an emergency and I have to be out for a month? Does my business stop? Do my clients have to go find another firm to work with because I'm not available? Good leaders have a succession plan so that the business does not have to stop.
I love it. I love it. So I want you, before this is my last question, and it's been so, I can talk with you forever, but just what was your aha moment for 2020?
That we were not as prepared as we thought we were. And when I say we, I mean all of us. I think that some of us, like as business owners and leaders and people of faith and people in ministry, we have somewhat of a plan, but until that plan has to be executed, like you don't really know if it's a solid plan. And so the aha for me was like, I had a plan and I had some things that I could, pivot easily. There were some things that I had to say, oh, wait a second. See, that was not as solid as maybe I thought, because who would have thought that we'd be here? So funny story. And I'll just end with this, like last year, December, I redid my home office and the thought, and I told my husband, I want to redo the home office because I want to work more from home in my home office next year. I said that in December. I wasn't trying to be prophetic.
I hear you.
But that's what I mean, right? Like just having a plan and then being able though to fully execute. Like there were some things that I think all of us just had to like fine tune and tweak to be stronger in some areas. Definitely.
Well, this is good stuff. Please tell us how we can reach you, how we can contact you on LinkedIn, and how we can reach you.
So you will find me on LinkedIn. So you see how my name is listed on my profile. So Belinda Fly. Belinda Fly is probably how you find me on LinkedIn, and then Gail Fly on Facebook. But the easiest way is to email me. You can email me. That would be info@HR Board More. So I work with boards of directors and I do HR. So that would be info@HR boardmore.com. Send me an email. I'd love to hear from you, especially faith-based in churches. We want to do some amazing work with you guys in the new year.
Absolutely. That comment will be coming up. I know there's a bit of a delay on Facebook, but thank you so
much. Thank you. This was amazing.
We're going to have some more things. We're having some more things coming up. And this is her email address, info@HRBoard.
More. Yep. More.com. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Send an inquiry. Maybe you can get a discovery call.
Yes.
And let's just go and get this. 2021 is really already here. And thank you again so much for being my guest. We'll talk soon. Take care.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night. Wow. What inspiration and insight we received from Gail Fly. I just want you to hold on. There is more. There is a second half to this. I hope that you are taking notes. I hope that you will even go back to the replay, look at the comments, look at the highlights, and contact Gail Fly should you need and require her services. This is what this is about. I am a bridger. I am not just out for Savant Leadership Consulting. Yes, I speak with high potential leaders, but I also want to get the resources out to you. Whether it's for yourself being an entrepreneur, whether it's for your church, whether it's for your nonprofit, whether it's for your organization, the resources are here. Again, I said last week, I don't believe that all of our power should be left in a box, in a sanctuary. As Gail said, there is no box. Let's do this. The world is wide open for us. And to that end, I have been speaking with this man I consult with him. He doesn't even know. I just pick his brain and I listen. I love to listen to people who have something to say that's going to advance me from where I am and project me and really just change the trajectory of my life, my career. And he has done that. He continues to be that. And so I want you to welcome from the Benson HR Consulting Group, Christopher Benson. How are you?
Hi there. Hi, Sheila. How's it going?
All is well. I'm just having a ball tonight. I love learning. I love listening to the experts such as you. And I have been so inspired. I've been so inspired by you. And I've watched your work acumen and I've watched you just advance in corporate America. And even as we fellowship in churches, I love to see people who are well-rounded, and you are one of those people. And certainly when I heard that you had started the Benson HR Group, I was just ecstatic. And I know that we have an additional guest that is a part of your team. I'm going to let you introduce her.
Sure. So I'll let Asha introduce herself when she comes on.
Okay.
If that works, okay.
Hello, Asha Jones. How are you?
Hello, Sheila. I'm doing well. Thank you. Hi, everybody.
Yes, I'm just excited. I'm just going to take so we can see. Yes, Chris and I. Yes. So, Chris, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? And then Asha would like you to tell me a little bit about yourself and your story and how the Benson HR Group got started.
Wow. Thank you so much, Sheila. And thank you so much for those kind words and inviting Asha and I to this conversation tonight. I had the pleasure to attend the first conversation, and I left that conversation inspired to launch the Benson HR Group. And then this conversation has been exciting already. I now have a new mentor. I don't even think she knows she's my mentor, Gail Fly, right? So Asha and I will be reaching out for sure to Gail. So who am I? I'm Chris Benson, as you said, and I am a human resource practitioner with close to 20 years of progressive experience. So I started off in HR in recruiting and diversity, thinking that I would be this super duper recruiter and diversity champion.
Mm-hmm.
But as I was trying to navigate my early career, a great opportunity opened up in the benefit space, and I gained a passion for designing benefit programs to help companies advance their people strategy. So although I hold a PHR certification, so a professional in human resources, it's like a generalist certification. My specialization is in designing benefit programs for companies that's going to help them to attract, engage, and retain their employees. So benefits is my sweet spot, and that's why I have Asha here. She's going to be that person that is our go-to person for that talent management piece. So just one other thing before I turn it over to Asha, I just want to tell you a little bit about me outside of work. I'm involved in a number of important causes, a couple of things that are really close to my heart. I work with the scholarship committee at my church, Bethlehem Judah Church of God in Christ in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Yes, I love 83. They let me work with the scholarship committee. And then I'm also a trustee on the board of directors for a new charter school in Buffalo, New York called Primary Hall. And if you follow me on social media, you can see that I love to travel and I love to learn new things. So just a little bit about me.
Very nice. Thank you so much. And I've seen some of the posts of the charter, and I believe that is it donations that are being received or endorsements or something that are being received?
Yes, absolutely. So we are raising money. We're trying to raise $20,000 this year to provide every student a set of diverse books and a uniform for this year.
So important. Those of you who are following him on social media, catch his post, and let's support. I'm a proponent of education, so let's support these babies. They need it. Asha, tell me about yourself.
Sure. And Sheila, you look lovely today. I just want to give you a heads up. She's like, she'll look nice. I was like, ooh, I have to show everybody I'm real.
Oh, thank you so much.
But yes, I'm very excited to be here. So thank you, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Asha Jones, and I'm also an HR professional. About 7 years formally in corporate HR. So I started my career actually getting my master's degree at Rutgers. So that's my formal background training in human resources.
Mm-hmm.
And then I joined a rotational program. So Chris has the sweet spot of benefits. I try to be the jack of all trades. I was very much like, I don't know what I love, but I'll probably won't hate it for too long. So I'd like to jump around for a few things. So I've had experience as a HR business partner,
Mm-hmm.
as an HR generalist, supporting different types of business units, a project manager, and then currently I've been working as a compensation consultant. So I must say this is probably, for my reposition, a place where I've been really learning a technical skill and building up that discipline. But as Chris mentioned, I'd like to have a nice jack of all trades for everything. So really just general HR management, talent management, and things that make sense. I was trying to think like, how would I introduce what Chris and I do today? We always just look at stuff and say, is the logic there? Can it be done better?
Mm-hmm.
And it normally involves people in some way. So that's what we do, people strategy. So I've had that formal experience in corporate HR. I'm also happy to say over the past 2 years, been a board secretary for a nonprofit. It's called the Female Collaborative. So quick plug, we are on Facebook, LinkedIn. You can look us up on the website. The
Female Collaborative?
Yes, the Female Collaborative. Another great opportunity where a friend of mine started a nonprofit that provides networking opportunities and career development for women, specifically in that sweet spot where you're past entry level, but not fully into like the C-suite. And so again, that's just a good passion of mine. I want to create opportunities for the communities I care about. Black people, being a woman, just frankly, anything where we want to be ourselves, but also have success in some way and be a leader. And so that nonprofit experience actually sparked a passion where last thing about me is I do some pro bono nonprofit consulting. So again, it's just what can we do to make a brand better? So nice ways to, and I'm happy to be a part of a group where I see and hear people tap into those passions. So that's just a bit about me. And the fun part, middle child of 5. So I've definitely realized during this quarantine and having to keep my pod close, love my family. We are a colorful bunch, but I very much love them. So definitely a core of mine. Thank you again for having me, Sheila.
Oh, thank you. Dr. Hall is saying these two are ready as well. Can't you tell? I mean, they are just, he's saying that they found a mentor in Gail Fly. I'm just listening like, I have found my heart's dream. It's just, I'm just listening to you all. And especially when you say women's empowerment, anything, the Female Collaborative, I have to find you all on social media. And so let's get started. Okay, so the reposition. We've been talking about making necessary changes to adjust the effects of the pandemic that we've been talking about, and that's been happening, and the dialogue about advancing after this pandemic is over. And we settle into this new normal. It seems like we're trying to get acclimated to this new normal. And I know that the Benson HR Group consulting group is relatively new, but can you tell us about your business and its fit into the dialogue that we have been having thus far?
Go ahead, Chris. You can start.
Yeah. Thank you. So for a few years now, Asha and I, we have talked about the possibility of how do we leverage our unique backgrounds to start a business. As you heard Asha just talk, we both find ourselves involved in social projects, helping what often people call the little guy, and or using our voices to amplify causes that may have been ignored. So both having a passion in HR, we thought this may be a really good time to launch out. So as the effects of COVID-19 began to show itself through increased unemployment, businesses closing their doors and industry shrinking, you have jobs disappearing, we thought, what are the opportunities available not only due to COVID, but also birthed out of from the political and socially charged climate. So after some discussion, again, we thought we would leverage our skills just to do what we enjoy and further help growing nonprofit organizations with end-to-end HR services and solutions. So I heard a pastor in Milwaukee say not long ago, you can feel and you can see the wind of transition. So while we know that there are small businesses that are closing their doors, there are opportunities that Asha and I are responding to in terms of a favorable impact to other small businesses with unprecedented growth and funding at this time.
Great. I see someone is responding. These are my heroes. Finding them on social media ASAP. Please do. I am inspired that, as you said, there are so many businesses that are closing, but there's a remnant that are either startups or they're small non-for-profits, and they need assistance. They need your support. And so I congratulate you for having the fortitude to take who you are, your experiences and your backgrounds to help, as I would say, the underdog. Yeah. So that was Gail Fly. Now Gail Fly is saying that about you. These are my heroes.
I was just going to say that's a lot of love talking. I wonder if that's my mom out there.
It was actually Gail Fly saying that. So I'm glad to make this connection. But I'm inspired that you are taking all of who you are and you're bringing it to them. But I was talking from the corporate side of the marketplace, of their stakeholders looking to you. But now I want to talk to you and ask a question from a consumer perspective. There are individuals who they've lost their jobs this year, right? They're on the verge of losing their jobs, or they're not happy with their current position. And this could have been before the pandemic broke, but certainly it has brought clarity to, I'm really not happy here, and why stay in a place or position where you are not satisfied, where you are not fulfilled, especially when you know that there's more. So there are signs that we may be ending the pandemic in the near future. But my question is, what should these consumers be thinking and doing as we prepare to launch into 2021?
Asha, you want to take that?
Sure, I can start. So I would say, yes, it's a pandemic. But I liked what I think both Ms. Gail and you said of, let's not act like 2021 is just around the corner. We should have been planning for it. I think the same thing, stay ready, don't got to get ready. That's something my friends and I put in the group chat all the time, just to keep you on your toes. So the pandemic was definitely a reminder, I think, for a lot of us, and we learned new things. So what I'd really just always recommend is, what do you need to do in your routine to keep that behavior of staying on top of it? And so what does on top of it mean? Looking for new opportunities. They're definitely out there. They always will be. The pandemic just makes it a little bit more challenging. So making sure people know, I think the two key things, what you're interested in and what you're skilled at. And I know that might sound very basic, but sincerely, word of mouth. If people don't, you might be, I'll use a generic example, but you might be in finance and you want to go into project management, or you're ready to be more creative. If people don't know that, and they don't know those transferable skills and that passion and that interest, they don't get that word of mouth, and it's hard to find the roles. You want to search on your own. You can look on Indeed.com. Those resources are there. But sharing with LinkedIn, exactly. But sharing it with
go to what is the website again?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I said Indeed.com.
Indeed.com. Okay.
Yeah, just your standard site. I'll just say real quick, as an HR person, I don't think there's a perfect site. There's so many out there that jobs can post to. So again, it's right about, where are the industries or the job opportunities you normally are interested in? How are those being shared? So maybe it's at a certain site or certain fairs, but also that's why I think a network, like, it's not as obvious as going on LinkedIn and say, hey, everybody, I want to start a writing career. But frankly, you want to share that with people so they know they can keep you in mind when those opportunities come up. So letting people know what you're interested in and also what you're skilled at. So you want people to also keep you in mind, because, like, I know about Sheila, she creates results. Or I know she's a genuinely good person. I enjoyed working with her before. Or even better, I know a friend who has enjoyed working with her before. So making sure people know that what you've accomplished,
absolutely,
what you're interested in, I think is very key. And that pandemic or not, I think that's kind of a behavior, a mindset I want us all to be able to adopt.
Yeah. So, Asha, I just think I'll add, I always have a thought, right?
Please.
Two other technical things. So, in addition to what Asha said, looking at those websites, this time of year, I tend to have people start reflecting on their resume. Usually, if you're in a job, you're already reflecting on your accomplishments for the year-end review. So this is a perfect time to transfer those accomplishments, those meaningful accomplishments, onto your resume. And I tend to tell people to think about those result-driven accomplishments, because as you're looking for a job, they have 1,000 widget makers, right? But you come across much more, or you come across stronger if you can say, I was able to deliver X in my job, or I was able to reduce Y in my job. So think about those result driven accomplishments. And then the other thing that I'll say really quickly is normally, I think it was Gail who said, we're already in 2021. So normally at the start of the year, people quickly begin to think about goal setting for their jobs.
Right.
And so the other thing that I recommend as you are looking at those job postings for roles that you want or ones that you aspire to, take those things that the market is asking for and write those things down. So as you are preparing for your goal conversations with your boss, or you're coming up with your plan, you can know what the market is calling for, and you can come up with a development plan to get there.
That's good. So get out those resumes, dust them off, and let's update them and revise them. Use the advice that both Chris and Asha has given us. But Asha, you made a statement, and I've made this to people, and they've come back to me with saying, we've heard in past times there are plenty of jobs out there. So I heard you make the statement, there are jobs out there. And while some companies have had to lay off because of the effects of the pandemic, there are others who are hiring. What are things that we should consider, or things that we should be doing to just help us navigate the awful time, dreadful job search and the entire interview process? Because I know some people, they dread just like, oh, let's go. Every day I'm checking on Indeed.com, and I'm receiving the emails each day to see how I can match up. And every time I get this email, it's not a match. So how can someone navigate and through this process?
Sure. And Chris, we'll definitely partner on this one again.
Sure.
Tactics. The big one, I always like starting with a behavior. It's a lot to look for a job. That search, it can take time. That's, even if it's quickly accessible, it can. And so I just stress that for people I like being prepared when you know what you're going into. So being prepared to be devoted and have an intent of searching for the job. Because if it was just as easy as Googling and filling out the application, and if volume worked of applying to 100 jobs on one company, like they got to see my name, so I'm definitely gonna get hired. Unfortunately, that's kind of the opposite. If they start to see that too much, you're like, ooh. And so that is sincere. So being intentional, and again, it gets back to what can you control? You know what you're interested in, and you know what you might be qualified for. So taking that tactic that Chris said of matching up your resume, looking at those postings, and taking out the time to really be devoted to look for those jobs and have those tactics. Are you someone that needs to research? Are you more personable and a networker? So maybe you'll do a lot of your search by word of mouth, and you set up a bunch of Zoom call happy hours to make that happen. You do need to initiate it. But what is that approach that you get that out there? So that's for the job search. And then what I would definitely say for interview and applying, we can go more into the tactics, but I think a big thing is it's back to knowing who you are. So I love Christopher's example of dusting off that resume. I think we need to think about our resumes more of, what did you want to experience in 2021? Like, Sheila, I'd love to see you next year and think, not what was your job, but just how did you grow? And that could be based off of the job that gives you your main income. It could be based off of a nonprofit or volunteer experience, because valid experience, how to articulate it well, it can always be valuable. So thinking about those result-driven accomplishments, and the job is getting annoyed. You want to know what you're good at, even when you're happy. But don't wait until you're upset. So having that behavior and knowing what you want to accomplish. Sorry, I look at the chat. I need to stop being distracted. I love everyone's engagement. But knowing what you are intentionally interested in, paying attention to what those postings are looking for, and tapping into, and I'm very introverted, Chris will let you know, but yes, but you do better than I do, my friend. But the network, it really can help of getting the word out there, and especially this virtual environment, letting people know what you're interested in and maybe qualified for. So taking that intention and then putting out the research. Is it websites you need to look up?
Mhm.
Does it seem like a job where you do need to know somebody? So you have to start building out that network and relationship and investing in it. It takes a plan. And so there's a lot of stuff you can Google for free, but I think it's that intention. What are you interested in? What can you control? And then pull those resources together.
Wow, actually, you have my brain over here firing. So I'll just, try to stick to two things that are going across my brain right now. So, in addition to what Asha said, I want to encourage people to practice interviewing before you get to the interview, right? So there's a popular saying that my music teacher would tell the choir when I was growing up. He would say, "If you fail to practice, you're practicing to fail." So
Yes.
don't show up to the interview practicing. You want to go into that interview confidently explaining why your skill set is perfect for the role and or how the role is going to help you grow with that company. So that's one thing. And then the other thing I want to kind of pick up on what Asha said is around don't apply for every role. Be considerate of people's time. So being in HR, I'm sure Gail, Asha, and I can always think of stories where people have come to us to say, "Is your job hiring?" Yeah, I think they are, but we don't take you serious when you are not prepared. Take time to
Yes.
go to the job board to see what roles are out there, and if you see an interested role, then reach out to your contact and see how they can help you navigate that in process into getting the interview. And as Asha said, I can't reiterate this enough. Don't apply for every role. Be thoughtful and be focused.
Be thoughtful and be focused. Yes, Asha, you wanted to jump in again? Yes.
Sorry, one other quick tactic. So I definitely agree with the practice before the interview, sincerely, even if you know your script, it's just having that natural flow. I would also suggest, and this could be anywhere, so you could pay for it or look for it online, but look up like a personality assessment, more like a leadership style, because I do think having some insight into how you can talk about your style in certain terms just builds that confidence. So it's back to what Chris is talking about of practicing before you interview. We all know some of the questions. Tell me about a time when. We're trying to understand, how you make decisions, how you work with people. So come ready with not even come ready with those examples. Know those examples about yourself. The confidence you would have of talking about what you've done, it can come through in an interview or in any kind of conversation. So that's something just people are bored over the holiday. Look up one of those little free, what's my leadership style? Just anything to give you more insight into how you can articulate what makes you a unique person.
Yeah, and you can definitely Google what is my leadership style, and it'll give you one of those templates. It'll give you the test, whether it's a personality test, and you may have to give them your email address, but hey, it'll be worth just taking that test just to get your style. Now, on the practical side of this, we're not saying to you to practice interviewing with your cousin if your cousin doesn't have the skill set to give you to really gauge and to assess where you are as interviewing, correct?
Yeah, no. Go ahead, take that, Asha.
I can see it in your face, but yes, you're getting at the right point. You do what you can with the resources around you, but yes, you would like somebody you're practicing the whole style. So you want someone who can emulate that person who might be making that hiring decision. So do they have an understanding of the job or what it takes to do the role? So yes, I'm sure your cousin could be good help, but we do want to make sure it's someone that can give you real feedback. And, don't be shy. That's a comment I saw of asking for help. Coworkers, colleagues, there's vulnerability to it, but it's growth and development. And it's also growth for that person. They practiced interviewing somebody. You did them a favor. That's a good experience for them too.
Okay. So even with people who are looking to transition from one job to another that may not be in the same field per se, speak to what are the transferable skills? How can a person make them work for them?
Asha.
Is she frozen? I think she's frozen. But I was thinking about some things and some skills that people might have, and they might not consider this new field. And I know that Asha is the more of the human resources person, but there are skills that you can use to say it worked here, but it can also work there. Chris, what would you say to that end?
Yeah, so I would say to the point that we were making earlier, right? Know how to speak to how it can work at
Mhm.
the other place, right? You can't
Yeah.
just say, I hear people say all of the time, what do you do for a living? And I'll, give them a basic answer. Oh, I manage our international benefit program. Oh, I can do that, right? Uh, help me understand how you can do that. How can you consult when you've been making widgets, and perhaps you take on the position that when there is a breakdown, I'm able to gather the stakeholders at this point of the process and that point of the process to examine why that breakdown occurred,
Mhm.
and then go from there. What I will point out as well is, I love this report by Dell that argues that 85% of the jobs in 2030, they have not been invented yet. So if I was a
Wait,
betting
hold on.
man,
I need to. Can you say that again?
yeah. So it's a report that Dell did, and they collaborated with large corporations and academic institutions, at least 17. And they argue the point that 85% of jobs in 2030, so just 10 years from now or 9 years now, they have not even been invented yet. Right.
Wow.
So if I was a betting man, right, I would, and I wasn't sanctified, right, so I don't bet. I would say become comfortable with managing data and artificial intelligence. So be able to transfer your skills into other places, because there's going to be a shift to in that technology space. Just this week, Asha and we were discussing an article that spoke to the resilience of individuals who suffered loss of jobs, particularly in that travel and tourism industry. But the article also highlighted how some of these same individuals enrolled in IT certificate courses and landed better paying jobs at higher level with major corporations, right? So that's my tidbit on transferable skills, right? Be able to speak to those skills that you think that you have, right? And then I think also with that bit on the technology space, be ready to shift, if you will, from
Yeah.
what may be comfortable, either getting the education, or as Asha was saying, networking, telling people what you're interested in and understanding, right?
Mhm.
Exploring the other things that are out there and how your skill set that you currently have could fit into that area. Asha, I'm so glad you're back.
No, you did fine.
No, I really admire the statement that really stuck out to me was not to be afraid to be adaptable and
Mhm.
to use those networking skills. I know that sometimes it could probably be a little nerve-wracking to put yourself out there to begin this network process. But as Chanel Vrantes says, be ready to shift. Be ready. So about those transferable skills, how can someone use those transferable skills? I know Chris gave his insight, and Asha, I'd like to hear your insight as well.
Sure. I think a big thing is knowing how you learn. So being able to articulate to somebody, because it's the transferable skills, and then letting them know, yes, this might be a new space for me, but I can pick this up because I have proven examples of doing that before in some way. I don't know, that might sound really basic, but sincerely, think about a new habit that you have, a new skill. Everyone's developed or grown in some way. That's
Mhm.
back to kind of knowing you're charting your resume. Hopefully your resume is written so well, it might tell you that story, but
Mhm.
sometimes you have to pull that out. I think
Yeah.
knowing how you learn and being able to tell somebody that at an interview or just a networking conversation, it helps convince them of, okay, they not only have transferable skills, but I can put them in a new situation and they can adapt.
Mhm.
That's good. Putting them in a situation where they can adapt. So, okay. So I've written the resume. I've practiced my interview. I've gone on the interview. Now I've gotten the job, but the offer doesn't feel right. What are your thoughts about negotiation, given there is so much competition out there? Most people, after getting the job, they feel just obligated to say, okay, thank you. Just But what can be the negotiation process in that?
Asha, can I start off and you take over? I just want to give people, what I tend to do.
Go ahead.
So typically when the offer comes in and I am not satisfied with the offer, my response back to the talent person is a sentence that says, given my experience and my education, I would expect a salary between X, Y, and Z. And then I also remind them that I'm coming from a corporate place where I have stock, et cetera, right? So just don't try to do me any kind of way, right? But that's typically how I take it, Asha. But you're in this space, so I'm about to take notes myself.
Sure. So happy to share. And I do put a disclaimer, since I'm actively employed doing this, that all my insights come from work experience in corporate and out, academic, and just frankly, hope that you all see Chris and I really just try to share what we think is just like common sense. So look at that basics and don't overthink it too much. Okay. So I think that's a great tactic, Chris. I was excited to hear that because Christopher is very sweet. But I'm working with him. I've known him to know he'll let somebody know what he wants or what he deserves. And I think that's important. So it's back to that.
There is that side of Chris. Yes.
Yes. So we all got to bring that up. There's that confidence, that kind of behavior. What's the mindset you're bringing in the conversation? And then, let me see, I made notes to keep this organized. So first, understand your leverage. There are no rules to negotiation. Like sincerely, I think for everything in HR, you're allowed to ask. You might get a no, or you might not get an answer you like, but I find people that are very cautious of asking, like, can I say that? Can I ask my manager that? Be respectful, use your judgment, but don't be afraid to ask a question. Doesn't mean you're going to like every answer you get, but you shouldn't be afraid. So I think it's the same with the offer negotiation. Some people don't know, can I ask for more? Can I say I want vacation instead? If there are no rules, that's why I'm saying know your leverage. Like if there are rules, they'll be very documented. Normally there isn't. So just in general, don't be afraid to ask that question. So it's about getting ready of what do you want to ask for? Because I love what Chris said. You said my experience makes me more suitable for something in this range. He gave them back a number. He let them know what their expectation is. Because you're giving somebody something specific to react to. So I think that's also very important. If it's just saying, I should get higher. Okay, what does higher mean in your situation? That's frankly, as a comp person or a recruiter, I'm always asking, like, so what do they want? Because we just need to figure that out. Doesn't mean I'm going to give it to them, but like, what are they trying to get? Sincerely. So that's the other thing, your leverage, which, sorry, I will add one thing that is new based off of whatever state you live in. There are certain rules, and I hope this will be something that happens federal, is that companies are not allowed to ask you your salary history. So some people might be actively interviewing or applying, and you might notice, I think this started definitely in Massachusetts. It exists in California. Some companies, because they just have places in multiple states, they're adopting this globally. And so they don't ask you, what's your salary history, is what are you expecting? And the real specific reason for that is because they're trying to offset difference in pay. It started with gender, but we can even get into the numbers of the intersectionality and where that comes in with race and ethnicity. Yeah. But having people drag that, frankly, poor salary decision somebody made in their previous job, and you just bring it with you throughout your career, it's always going to bring you down. So they're trying to eliminate that they ask you, what do you expect? So that's the other, know what you want. What are you expecting? And to really think through that, I challenge you to think like you're the person that you're negotiating with. So what do they have in mind? Is it a nonprofit? Is it a big company? So do they have set salary ranges you might be able to find out about? Mm-hmm. Are there monetary constraints? So what is on the mindset of that person? What's the value of the job? So remember, I didn't say you as an individual, I said the job. And also like sometimes places are looking for an office manager because everything else won't get done because this office manager is not here to organize us. And so that's the value of that job. Whereas sometimes the place can be so small, an office manager might just be an extra person there. So it's not that valuable. Really, sincerely understand the value of that job so you know the leverage. And then finally, it's the value you bring as the individual. So like Chris said, it's the experience he's bringing. Or if you know how you learn, it's that transferable skill. And hey, I've been in these kind of new situations before, So that's what you're investing in. Somebody who's been tried multiple times and have been successful. So you want to understand the system, like know your leverage. And I encourage you all, you can ask for what you want. If you ask for something crazy, they might, well, I won't say crazy, I'm sorry, better wording. You can ask for something unorthodox and they might tell you no. So be prepared for that answer, but you're allowed to ask. Depending on the type of job or the industry, it can be money or stock. You definitely have a right to say, I'm walking away from this in my company. This is what I'm losing. So this is what I'm expecting you to match or cover. There's nothing wrong with saying that. And also think creatively. People have this flexible time now, like maybe working more remote 100%. That's what's valuable. And that's what you want to negotiate. Or you want to negotiate a flexible schedule and say, between 2 and 5, I'm not going to work for you. You have me everywhere else. And sometimes you can negotiate something like that. So really figure out what is valuable to you and then bring that to the conversation and think about what's on their mind. What are their challenges or their constraints? How much do they value the job, the purpose of that job? And then what's the value that they're investing in with you? What are you bringing as an individual? I think if you have confidence around that, again, I never make promises, but you are now at a better place with better information and hopefully the confidence to ask what you want in a negotiation. And you go from there.
I'm just sitting here saying, wow, because oftentimes I hear people say, I have my master's degree. I can't believe that they would only offer me $40,000. But you said something so key tonight, right? Know your value, right? Yep. And the value of the job, right? Those two have to match if you really want to get to where you want to be salary wise.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So understanding your leverage, knowing the value of the job, but then also knowing the value that you bring as an individual. Oh my goodness, this has been so rich, so informative, so insightful that you have consented to just pour out and share with people that are watching live, but people that will watch the replay. Please let me ask you just one question before I ask you for your information. And this is just sort of off the cuff. If you had one word to describe the shift that you feel will take place in 21, what would that be?
Opportunity.
Potential. That's what I have.
Wow. And that goes on the same length. And I want you to take those two words, opportunity and potential. And no, I want you to take that and run with it. You have the vision. They have laid out not only the what, but the hows to get there. Please let us know how we can engage the services of the Benson HR Group. We heard that you are on social media. We have heard about the causes that you are involved in, but please let us know how we can reach you.
Sure. So you can email us at contact@thebensonhrgroup.com.
Okay, contact, and that it's a little bit of delay on Facebook. So I'm just going to give them a few moments to get that. Can you repeat that just one more time?
Yes, it's contact@thebensonhrgroup.com.
Okay, and I want you to reach out to them, but serious inquiries only. They have given their valuable time, and I promise that they will be an asset to the success of your career. I'm looking for great things. Let me just put that up. contact@thebensonhrgroup.com. Reach out to them today. They are just their wealth of knowledge. They are just, I felt like I was sitting in a think tank tonight with you two, just the three of you. I'm just an observer, and I've been so blessed and so honored. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you, Ms. Asha, and thank you, Mr. Chris. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll look to speak with you both soon.
Thank you so much again.
Thank you, everyone.
And so what a night this has been. Part 2 of the Reposition. This has been absolutely phenomenal. I want you to not only take notes from this live, but watch the replay. The replay will stay up in the Reposition. Take advantage of these two phenomenal consulting firms. Keep your eyes and ears open for more coming from both of these people, Chris Benson and Gail Fly. I want you to have a blessed night, knowing that your opportunity and your potential will meet your success. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care and stay tuned for closing credits. I hope that you have a wonderful 2021. Take care.